And of course, I will upload that as per usual. All right, awesome guys. So definitely happy to everyone show up this morning again. Today's format very similar, but we're going to be doing a little bit of a breakout instead of the main content. Then we'll get to the Q&A. I'll go through that again in a moment. Just to go through some of the agreements. Obviously, be curious. We want to make sure that we are uh, asking questions and really being inquisitive about helping each other out. One of the goals of a mastermind is being able to basically use a lot of knowledge in the room. Um, Obviously, be respectful. That goes without saying. We're all operating businesses and running at a high level, so we want to share that. Be succinct, get to the point. We are executives in the room, like get after it. Don't necessarily pull punches and create all these caveats around everything that you're saying. Show up to each session because that's going to make a big difference, especially in the trust that we build within the group. As we all know, what we talked about trust last time was a huge factor. And then if you can advise on something, just raise a hand on the app. You can also connect, like use the chat and use some post-session connections also. This is an opportunity to kind of go, hey, how would I solve for that? And maybe there's an opportunity downstream. Just to go through the format again, we're going to go through some member introductions. We'll pick out some people. I would definitely want you to share and really register with this one. What's a big goal you're currently working on? Like this is a really important component to what we're trying to do. We're all running businesses. We want to achieve some stuff. Like what is that big goal that you're working on, and can this group help you stay on target? And what did you commit to last session? Last session, 1 month passes between sessions. What did you commit to last session? Did you accomplish it? Did you set up the procedure and the roadmap to accomplish it? That's really important as well. Alternating months. So last month we were in a topic overview. We talked about trust. We talked about decision making. We talked about tracking those decisions and building that out. Today we're going to do a little bit of a case study. So we're going to break out and do a little bit of problem solving and then present those case studies. Then we'll get to some of the submitted questions that some of you sent in. There was some real good ones in there, so we'll definitely get after that. We'll do open questions if we have time, and then we'll have some closing takeaways. So the next mastermind date is going to be December 27th. Yes, yeah, it will be 2 days after Christmas because we're business operators, and so that's what we do. We don't say, oh, well, we'll just take all that time off. This doesn't make sense. Okay. All right, so selected member introductions. You know what, Houston, man, you're all the way over in Halifax. Why don't you take a moment here and just kind of go through this and let us know in a few minutes who you are, your business name, all the details that are listed there on the screen.
Certainly. Well, good morning and good afternoon, everybody. My name is Houston Barnaby. I'm a Mi'kmaq from Listigouche, Quebec, so it's in the Gaspé Coast of Quebec, and a lawyer by training. I work on behalf of all the chiefs here in Nova Scotia effectively as in-house counsel, and decided to start a different business using the expertise that I gained during that time to form an Indigenous consulting firm. Doing primarily at the beginning of our company was just around cultural awareness training. So just two people and a PowerPoint presentation. And we realized that we could actually, scale this operation, first of all, charging people for the service, which was excellent. And then after that, developing and offering other services around general consulting, providing companies and governments across the country with reconciliation action plans and ad hoc consulting, policy review, and the like. And so we're 3 years into this business, on year three going in, and we're certainly in a strong position, I think, and looking to continue to grow. We're still currently just the founding partners. But of course, we're a cash-only business. We've taken no debts, and we primarily work with private organizations. So we're convincing other people to give us their hard-earned cash, which is not easy to do, but we've done it with some success. And so it's a slow grind like any other business. We're recognizing it's only been about 2 or 3 years, and we're excited for the future. And if you want to get a hold of us, you can find us at balsaminc.com. The website's not completely finished, but there's certainly enough information there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Houston, just let everyone know how we met as well.
Oh, yes. So I met Edwin. I was sitting down in the founders section of Patrick Bet-David's Vault conference. And I was one of the only Canadians there. So I thought, and I look over to my left, and there is Edwin find out he's from Vancouver, and we start connecting, and then that's sort of how I got looped into this. And so it's an absolute pleasure to be here, Edwin. Thank you for the opportunity. Great to meet all of you, and I look forward to this session and many others.
Yeah, solid, man. Stoked to have you here. All right, cool. Marcel, awesome to have you here. I know last time you were traveling, so really excited to have you here. Why don't you throw out some details on yourself here?
Yeah, thanks, Edwin, and nice to meet you, Houston. Thanks for that intro. It sounds like you're working on some exciting stuff. As Edwin said, my name is Marcel Blais. I'm a strategic advisor in a very new hospitality group that my business partner and I have formed called LFG, short for Love Food Group. Um, we're working on a very massive project for us right now. We're seeking to open what we think is one of the largest restaurants ever done in Canadian history. It's about 23,000 square feet, 850 seats, right on the waterfront in downtown Toronto. So although I've been in the restaurant industry since I've been a teenager, this is admittedly a pretty big swing for us. Um, right now, um, because we're such early days, we're experiencing what most entrepreneurs would experience when they're starting their business, and we're really working hard at this juncture on our capital raise. Our project's $14 million. Of that, 5.6 we're trying to raise through third-party institutions like banks and the like, and the rest, the remaining 8.4, private equity. There's nothing that is occupying my time more than that component to the project at this juncture. On the equity side, we're about 2.6 million away, so that's going well, with a January 15th deadline. And on the bank side, we have none of it yet, but we're trying to get three different groups together to pull together the 5.6 million, and hope that by next week we have everyone in agreement on what we're doing, and then we just race towards the end of the year to get it complete. So in terms of how to get a hold of me, I'll put my email address and mobile number in the group chat while someone else is doing their introduction.
Yeah, solid. Yeah, and Marcel, you and I connected because for a very specific reason as well. So at that time, Marcel was the president of CHOP, the steakhouse chain and franchise owner. And you were one of the only restaurant people who was posting about taking care of the team and the
That's
mental
right. Yeah.
health of the team, and how to really manage all of that. And I thought that was really cool. And so we ended up connecting over LinkedIn, and that turned into a pretty solid connection. Yeah, so very
It
cool.
was really cool, Edwin. You're honestly like I'd only say about 1 in 500 people who try to connect with me on LinkedIn have this authenticity that they just really want to meet and actually connect. And we talked, I think, a couple times before we really did any business together, and it was I sincerely believe it was just really two like-minded guys, but you had the courage to reach out, and I'm grateful for it. Yeah, that was years ago.
Yeah. That was pre-pandemic, I think. For sure. Yeah, awesome. Great to have you in here, Marcel.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks, man.
Ty, why don't you shoot here?
I was muted.
Oh, Ty, just hit the unmute there.
Sorry, lads.
Yeah.
Yeah, my name's Tyler Waddell. Crave Homes Limited is my company. I'm the principal owner. We specialize in residential construction, custom homes, and renovations in north and west Van mainly. Been around for 4.5 years, and been in the industry for 20. We basically started the business right in the heart of COVID, so that was a bit of a difficult one. But yeah, we've got some sort of short-term goals, long-term goals. We've been working with Edwin for about 3 months, and things are going really well. We're just really trying to grow with the industry, right? There's a lot of stuff going on, so yeah. You can get a hold of me. I'll leave my my contact information in the group chat, and we can go from there.
Now, Ty, you had a pretty big win recently. You want to share that?
Yeah. But we just finished a project that sold for $8 million on the market for an investment company. So that was a good win, and yeah, pretty stoked on that one. We're hoping down the road, once we get the structure for the residential kind of client base side all dialed in, I can start focusing more attention into investment projects. So
That's awesome, man. I mean, it's so great, and you've submitted that home for awards as well, um, which is
yeah, we targeted that. Like I said, we started the company. It's difficult in the residential home world to get your foot in the door when it comes to um, new builds, and in North and West Vancouver alone. So being able to kind of have that first custom home that we built to be in that kind of level, high end level, and we're taking it. Our objective with that one was mainly marketing. So that's what we're doing currently. We've already landed a couple big projects just from that project. So hopefully we're on the right track here.
yeah, I love it. Really, really great. Okay, cool. So thanks for those intros, you guys. I really love the fact there's so many dynamic people in the space and in the room, which is great. This is a really cool quote from Charlie Munger, and effectively what he's saying here is like settle into the process, right? I'll read it out. So he says, I constantly see people rise in life who are not the smartest, sometimes not even the most diligent, but they are a learning machine or learning machines. They go to bed every night a little wiser than they were when they got up, and boy, does that help, particularly when you have a long run ahead of you. So if civilization can progress only with an advanced method of invention, you can only progress when you learn the method of learning. Nothing has served me better in my long life than continuous learning. I went through life constantly practicing, because if you don't practice, you lose it. The multidisciplinary approach, and I can't tell you what that's done for me. It's made life more fun. It's made me more constructive. It's made me more helpful to others, and it's made me enormously rich. You name it, that attitude really helps a lot. Charlie Munger is like Warren Buffett's right hand guy, right? Like they're basically lock and step with each other, and he's kind of the comedy uh, to Buffett's slightly less comedic side. Um, but I think that this is like just a really really cool way of looking at stuff. When you see really successful people in business, most of them are actually having a lot of fun along the way. That's not saying that there's not hard moments, but if you end up kind of like going, okay, I want to get these outcomes, but at the same time, I'm going to enjoy the process to get there, it will change the outcome. It just will. Um, in sports, you see people choke all the time, right? Like they get to the final and they choke. It's because they're so focused on the outcome that they forget the process. They're not paying attention to the swing. They're not paying attention to the discipline that got them there in the first place. So really, really important to have that as top of mind. I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that.
I'll add 2 cents to that, Edwin. In my
Yeah,
former career, I was so focused on the outcome and at such a rapid pace that when I look back, um, I skipped or glossed over celebrating the victories, skipped over some of the pieces that were about relationship management, and that's my favorite part about my new business partner. He's so curious, so fun that. Even though it can be stressful, even though we've got lots going on, it's a very different experience. And so this quote really resonates with me as well.
yeah, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I've got a post that I put up on Instagram. It got a lot of likes. And I posted a long time ago. Every now and again, I kind of recycle it, but it says you didn't start your business to be miserable. Like you didn't. You had a vision, you had an idea, you had something that you wanted to achieve. You had an impact you wanted to make. And whether you're an entrepreneur or an entrepreneur, or you're someone in the business or on the business, like wherever you are in that, you didn't do it to be miserable. And so where's that purpose, and how are you making sure that lines up with what you have going on? It helps you push through the really, really hard parts. I had a call with my coach this week, and he hit me hard. He was like, I'm like, I've been derailed. I've kind of lost a little bit of steam. I don't have as much motivation to get this project done. And this is relative to the book that I'm submitting for publication, right? And he's like, you have an obligation. He's like, what are you going to do? Just stop? Like, are you going to let every single thing that happens just make you not accomplish the thing that you want to do? It's like, put in the work. You're way over. Get it done. I was like, fuck. Like, he just hit me really, really hard, right? And so I was like, oh my God, I kind of moped around the house for the rest of the morning. And then last night I was up till whatever it was, 10:30, I think. And I just basically quickly had dinner with the family and was just getting it done. So and it was a 6 a.m. start yesterday, and I didn't finish till late. It's just how it goes, and you push through it, and you celebrate those wins, right? So really, really important. All right, we're going to do a case study for this next segment. Case studies are really beneficial to exercise the mind. The other thing that case studies allow you to do is it allows you to get into creative thinking. That's not directly tied to an outcome of your business. So you start to develop problem-solving skills that are not going to create a threat analysis in your own psyche. You're like, oh man, if I screw this plan up, what am I going to do? And then you're counteracting all of your ROI requirements. You're trying to figure out all of those different aspects, and so being able to work through a case study is super important. A couple more people dropped in the room here, which is awesome. Manny, great to have you here. If you guys didn't see the podcast, Manny and I did, ask me about it or check out my links. Yeah, it's really, really fun. Really fun. Okay, so we're going to do a case study. It's going to be on this concept. The case study is going to be called Grind Coffee. We're going to break out in, I'll throw you into breakout rooms. In the breakout room, discuss, like, have that conversation. Once we finish that breakout room, we're going to come back to the main group. One person from that group will present the key findings to the rest of the team on what your proposed strategies are, what you think the key problems are, whatever happens to be. Do this in like a clean 1 to 2 minute explanation, and then everyone else is going to rank you on the quality of what your group ended up producing. We're going to be like, yeah, okay, that was cool, that was not cool. Okay, so this is a lot of you guys have growth goals, and also many of you have growth goals that are capped with external or internal limitations. So I tried to design this case study with that in mind. Okay, so I'll read out the case study, and then what I'll do is I'll put you in breakout rooms, and then I'll post it into the broadcast chat so that you guys can still have access to it while you're in there. All right, here's a case study. Oh my God, it's huge. Here we go. Grind Coffee. Sandra is the founder of a small local business, Grind Coffee. She wants to scale the business with the hopes of multiple locations, a wholesale facility, and an Enjoy the Grind members club who have standing orders for home and business. The coffee shop is popular with regulars. Sandra knows all the morning and afternoon traffic, but struggles to attract new customers and expand beyond its current location. Sandra has limited capital and must be creative to grow the business without overextending the business resources. She doesn't know whether to increase her traffic to the existing location or expand into new areas. Grind Coffee can't afford large-scale marketing or hiring additional staff. While the shop has a solid local following, it struggles to bring in new customers, particularly younger crowds or tourists. The coffee shop has high labor costs, and the processes are not streamlined. Peak hours often result in delays and longer wait times, affecting customer experience. Sandra does not want to take on debt or give up equity to investors, but needs money to invest in marketing, staffing, and possibly expanding the physical space for more seating or wholesale production and storage. There is increasing competition from larger coffee chains and other local coffee shops in the hip neighborhood. They need a strategic approach to grow the business without overextending their resources. Give you another moment to quickly capture the scenario there. I will start to create some breakout rooms here. Let me see how many people are actually in here. Okay, so I'm going to do 4 breakout rooms. And okay. Any questions about I'm gonna there's a few people who have restaurant background. I'm not gonna put those 2 people, I'm not gonna put them in the same space. Because that'll that just won't be as good. So I'll make sure to make sure that that doesn't happen. I was gonna just open it up and have it happen in that particular way, but I'll go this way instead. All right, there we go. I'm getting there. Give me a moment. Just try not to put your AI in there, Marcel. Or maybe that would make sense if I did that. And let me go back and find Marcel's.
Sorry, Edwin, are you saying like my AI
Yeah,
Fathom on
yeah,
your
yeah.
thing? Oh, I didn't mean to start it. I apologize. I
Oh,
must
okay.
have
No, no,
started.
okay. It's all good. Okay, I think I've got that happening. Okay, I'll open up the rooms, guys. So get in there and solve this problem for Sandra. You should see the did I assign you someone? I think I did. I think I
Yeah,
got
you
you in
did.
room 4. Yeah, you should just pop in there.
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
That
All
went
right.
quick, Edwin. That went quick.
That went quick. It goes fast, man. Yeah, 100%. It's a big problem to solve. Okay. Who was in room 1? Who's going to present on room 1? What they and I can put up the case study again so that as they're speaking, we can reference their solution.
I forgot what group I was in, but if I'm group one, I'm the presenter. Let me know.
Okay, I think you were. Hang on, we're sure. Let's go with your group. Okay,
All right.
yeah,
So we came up with the following ideas. Where they're nowhere near at a point where they want to open a second location. They're not optimized on this one location. So why increase your headaches? Get things dialed in at this current location first, and they don't have the money for it. So that time to order and that time to serve is really key for them to optimize. Um, I'm sure we all experience it when you go to a coffee shop. If you see the lines too long, you're not gonna wait in line. So make sure that you're getting that turnover as quick as possible. So work on every single step of that process so that it's just running as smoothly as possible. Consider opening earlier. I'm not sure what time they open in the morning, but are they opening early enough to take advantage of as much of the crowd that passes that location in a given day? Do an evaluation of the experience that they're offering against the demographic that they're trying to attract, against the cost that they can the price point that they can ask for at that particular location. Are you doing a Tim Hortons experience? Are you doing a Starbucks experience? Or are you doing a more premium coffee shop experience? Um, so that ultimately drives into where are your costs at on all your food and all your coffee, and how much more can you ask for it, given that experience that you're offering to folks. And is the consistency there? Is the food, the coffee the same every day? And if people expect the same coffee every day, if it's not the same, they're going to go somewhere else. And the final thing, subscriptions. They've got that early grind or enjoy the grind members club. Could they consider charging a monthly fee for just showing up and getting your coffee for free? Not for free, but you paid for it. You paid for it up front. And you get that guaranteed revenue stream month over month from your regulars. So those are the ideas we've bandied around.
great. Who wants to what do we think? Throw it in the chat. How was the quality of that response? Was it was it an A student response, a B student response, a C student response? Anyone think that the
And none of us were restaurateurs, so
or was it a failing grade? Yeah. Give it a letter grade. Let's see how forgiving this team is. A plus, of course. You guys are probably in the same group. Very good. Okay, yeah, nice. A minus. Yeah, awesome. Really well presented, Gregan. I think you guys hit on a lot of different things. It seemed like you guys were focused more on operations and the system of process than anything else, and a little bit of data mining. Is if that's what I got from that. So yeah, great. Okay, let's go to the next group. Or the next person presenting. There was four groups. So let's just who was not in Gregan's group? Duncan? Yeah,
Hey,
go.
I can't recall my group number either. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, well, I'm going to take a crack at it here. And full disclosure, I did work at JJ Bean when it was a tiny startup. So I got to know some wins, some easy wins, but I'll try not to use those, and I'll use a few more things that were takeaways from the group. One of the first ones was the strategy statement. Like, how recently was that revisited? How about the mission, vision, values? What is their business plan? Does it still work with where they're at now? Because where they got to with the single location and with their goals in mind, do those still fit with the expansion? So under that would be like, do they have a data tracker? Do they have a CRM or some source of truth where they can see customer experience, volume, revenue per day, per hour, peak hours, like all those things that are going to help identify when to increase efficiency. Also, training program for their staff. It sounds like they have people who maybe aren't all on the same page. So getting them in sequence and having symmetry would be key. And that would also tie into the staffing times. Maybe during their peak hours, they have another person come in to help with that, to help facilitate that efficiency. Maybe that's a part-time employee that doesn't cost them to have another staff member the whole day. Social media presence, that would be a big one to revisit as well. You want to hit your local through Instagram. You want to get all your current fans of the coffee shop to be telling their friends, but if they're taking photos of it, they know the location, then it's going to be your local. And then you could also hit like a world travelers group, or if you can get on someone's Instagram that's well known that goes to Vancouver and hits grind coffee, that's going to really pique someone's interest the next time they're in Vancouver. Um, I was thinking about some of the ads at tourist destinations. If there's a free resource like a magazine that sits on a thing when people are waiting for the sea bus, or maybe they're coming off of a cruise ship, if you get some sort of ads out there to hit your coffee shop over others, laying out the space and maximizing it. They were saying that they wanted to have a wholesale facility. Clearly, they're not ready to do that. So maybe they could put in a small roastery within the coffee shop, decrease the size of the chairs and tables while still keeping the same amount of seating, but introduce a new aspect where they can actually, on Saturdays when they're maybe a little slower, or whatever day that of the week that might be, or in the evenings, they could roast coffee. So now they're a bit more self-sustainable in that without having to buy another location. Tracking their experience with the clients, like we were talking about. So some sort of audit on that. Having tickets that you could stamp and punch as part of that loyalty program. That's really inexpensive with a paper ticket. And then I think the last one was just maybe how you stand out against the other businesses around you. What makes you unique? Is it your staff? Is it the music? Is it the art? And I think in order for them to have a strategic approach to grow the business without overextending the resources, which is the last line, I think they have to revisit the overall business plan first, make sure that they have goals set that are attainable, and have maybe a 2-year plan on how they want to grow that. It's not that they shouldn't do that, but they need to refine the processes first.
Great. Yep. Really well put together. A lot of different components on there as well. All right, let's rank it. Let's give a letter grade here. How did Duncan's group address the problem that Sandra is facing and the goals that she wants to have? Okay, we're very high scoring teachers in this group. Very nice. Okay, you're getting A scores across the board. All right. Who is in Marcel's group? Who's presenting on that group?
Marcel, would you like to go?
Yeah, sure. I took a few notes. I think our group felt that she had a lot of goals, and that she probably didn't have the resources realistically to attack all of them at once. So sequencing was going to become an important thing to encourage her to do at the beginning. And so we got to a spot where we were trying to help her help advise on force ranking what those priorities would be. And so we identified, starting with the bottom, that things like the expansion, the wholesale club, and the grind club would be things that she should probably choose to put later on in the sequencing and be at peace with that and focus first on kind of the lifeblood of the business. She's got to grow top line sales. Like at the end of the day, she doesn't have anything if she doesn't have that, and she needs to make more profit. And so she has to focus internally on her processes. Super small business, so she can't really, this isn't Procter and Gamble looking to hire a consultant to come in and right size the business. She's just got to dive in, pull up her sleeves, and she's got to every day get better at their internal processes, so that she's making more money tomorrow. If she truly is unwilling to get any investors and she wants to remain whole, that's fine. If that's a core goal that she maintains, then we would encourage her to look at taking a small business loan and spending money where it's most important, which would be on it appears, marketing and growing the business. And if she doesn't have the skill set to do that, then that would be the right spot to put the money while she focuses her time and energy on the internal processes of the business. So, and combined together, in a short period of time, the goal would be increase revenues, increase profit with better internal processes. And once she gets to that level, she'd be ready to revisit those other three priorities, the grind club, expansion, and wholesale.
Right. So you're talking about really doubling down, focusing on a few key areas, maximizing energy and resources on those particular areas. Yeah, fantastic. Really good. Okay, letter grade.
But also really, I can't remember if it was Duncan who said it or who was speaking, but just the idea of finding your point of differentiation and standing out like that, that's part of in addition to the internal processes, I think she absolutely has to do.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, really good. Okay, yeah, give it a letter grade. And then I think it was like Simone's group with Sunny and Andrew, who's presenting for you guys.
We didn't take time to discuss that, so I'm just going to go ahead and
Yeah,
start talking
okay.
here. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the great comments have been stated, so I might repeat a couple here, but we didn't in our discussion at all talk about revenue. We didn't get that far. I think what we all where the conversation took us is the starting point is assessing the current state. Again, there's a lot listed there in the case study, a lot of different components, and I think what we felt the natural starting point was to really boil it down, assess exactly where the business is at. Secondly, form a strategic plan with addressing those items head on, specifically around what Marcel just talked about, the business operation and the systems from within. Solving those issues first and foremost will obviously allow for the business to operate efficiently through those peak rushes and one way or another bring more revenue in through the front door. So assess, strategic plan. Then we discussed either it's unclear if Sandra has the know-how of developing the training systems or the systems of operation. So perhaps she needs to hire a key team member to join her in the endeavor of revamping their systems of operation. So either she's going to develop that and then bring someone in to help with execution, or she's going to bring someone in to help with the development and then ultimately execute with the team. So perhaps there's one or more key hires that need to be made. She then needs to measure some KPIs along the way to see if her strategy is working. Then implement a timeline for addressing the rest of the issues that haven't been solved through the first three steps, and then refocusing and moving the business strategically ahead from there.
Okay,
That's kind of where as far as we got.
All right, let's give it a score. How do we feel this fourth group presentation addressed Sandra's core problems? Put it in the chat, right? Okay, so here's some things that came about that I heard. Really focus on the things that are most important while strategically planning for what your roadmap looks like downstream. Okay. Second one, make sure that your internal processes and systems are captured, refined, and optimized. That was a second thing that I heard across the board. Third one, make sure that you have internal data points, that your decision making is one that's based off of actual information so that you can make more effective decisions downstream. Fourth one was really capture what the ethos and what the brand represented and what it meant for her and for her customers. And that the customer experience in the store was primarily where that was going to get established. So those are the four big takeaways that I took from what you guys were throwing down. If you think about all of those things that you guys talked about, how many of those are you currently doing in your business? Like if those are the things that we're saying are important for Sandra, are those the things that you guys are currently focusing on in your business? Are you figuring out how to optimize your internal systems? Are you getting key seats to cover the base of where you don't have the capacity or the skill set to do that? Do you have a roadmap of what the focus of your goals are for short-term direct impact versus long-term ambitions? And then do you have the KPIs and results and data to ensure that you are making the right business decisions for you and your company? We're effectively solving a third-party problem, but using systems and processes around this to go, okay, where does that live for me and my company? do I have too many things on the go? How many pans are on the fryer here? Or am I not paying attention to enough of the things that are going to move the needle for me? Yeah, Chris, do you want to expand on that? Just unmute there. Plus, we want to hear your Manchester accent. So,
Nobody wants to hear that.
yeah,
Good morning. So yeah, obviously you around key hires and things like that. I think of late it's been very clear to me that you can know a lot about a lot of things and you can be good at what you do. But if you bring in people that are experts within that one area, you're gonna you're going to optimize that area more so than what you're going to be able to do when you are focused on, say, getting everything to 60%. So for us, rope access division, doing 70% or whatever, like your focus is around that. And then but you can't optimize it to 100% because you've focused on so many other things at once. So then you've got for us again, the confined space side of stuff. It's going to be around that. And then obviously working on the business, it's not going to be because you're focusing on these other things. So I've brought in a rescue specialist who is solely focused on doing so. And I've never like it's been life changing, instantly life changing for what he brings to the table, what his experience is like. And I've known for the longest time that I needed to hire people who specialize. But I don't know, I just had this block in my mind where I just didn't do it. Just didn't do it. Like Edwin, you and I have worked together. You know about some of the struggles. And I saw an opportunity and I got this guy and I was like, what a change. What a change. And it really allows you to then focus on other things within the business. What was number one again?
well, you said, I was talking about focusing, like heavily focusing on a couple of key things as opposed to,
Yeah. A big one for us, and I probably need to apologize to Edwin on this one because he told me and told me and told me and told me to do this. And that's tracking all your data, tracking everything, track everything, track it, track it, track it. It
I
doesn't
think
take
actually,
long.
hang on, I'm not going to let you off the hook on this one. We specifically had a strategy session once, and you're like, "What am I going to do? Just sit around in my fucking office and just track everything?" It's like I'm pretty sure that's exactly what your line was.
And I'll admit, I kicked back. I think I've done a lot of growing up in the last 18 months. And it doesn't take a lot of effort to do so. Having the right systems in place to quickly track something doesn't need to be fancy. It can be just a general Excel sheet, and being able to relay that to the team.
Yeah.
It's nothing special. But it keeps people accountable. It keeps people in the know. It also helps you to figure out what you're going to do and what you need to improve on in the future, which is obviously the key. How can you expect to grow if you don't know what you need to improve? And another one, Edwin said to me that I told him to fuck off about, excuse me, I'm English, let me swear. SOPs. I did start like I knew they were important, but I would do one. I'd be like, I'm working on it, and then would never finish it. And I've really, really, really been at them of late. Even if I just chip away at one or two of an evening, I've been using Scribe HQ, like the AI software, to really focusing on the stuff that is like maybe software based or safety documentation or anything like that. Because you can go in, it literally takes all your pinpoints during like the recording process, and then you can edit all the sections for that, and it makes it super easy and clear. But that again helps everybody.
Mhm.
We're not a huge organization by any means, but as we grow, it's nice that people have something that they can go, oh, there's a video about that, or oh, there's a document about that. That's another one I learned about creating SOPs. I found just videoing yourself doing it. It's awkward at first, but video yourself doing it. And I actually got that from a local business expert. I don't want to mention his name in this. Everyone knows what I'm talking about.
No, yeah. We know what we're talking about. Okay, cool. Yeah, really, really good feedback there as well. Duncan, I'll get to you in one moment. I want to address one of the questions that Manny had sent in really quick as well. So Manny, I don't know if you remember the question that you sent in, but if you want to just quickly capture it, or I can read it out. I've got it.
Yeah, for sure. So the question that I asked was, I own a marketing agency, Landscape Maverick, for landscapers and hardscapers, and so a lot of our employees are remote. And so the question that I had was, how can we still build culture? How can we still build a mission and, get these guys, behind this mission, going full steam at it, even though we're all remote? Because it's a little bit different, I would say, than having everybody in one office when you can feed off each other. So that was kind of my question, how to build culture around the fully remote team.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so and now and some of these are subcontractors for you, right? Like you're subbing them out, or they're actual like employees on
Yeah,
payroll.
some of them are subcontractors, but they're treated like they're internal to, like they have their own email with us. Like for example, with a lot of our branding kits, there's a lot of things that we can't do in-house.
Hmm.
But there's this guy in, for example, Pakistan that has an agency over there. And then he's like, we bring him on internally, like we give him his own email address. He has access to all of our SOPs to do what he needs to do.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so there's a couple of things to look at here, and some of us have either remote teams, or we have teams that are not coming into the office all the time. And so one of the key things that's going to do this is a really well-developed survey that's going to basically say, hey, listen, what matters to you? Like a feedback form, effectively, but it's internal. Like what how did this work? The other one is the cadence of meetings. I cannot push enough. A well-developed cadence of meetings is such an important thing. Whether that happens once a month or once a week, but really giving everyone the platform to be able to say, hey, these are the issues that I'm having. This is what's going on here. Your energy and what matters to you as a business operator is gonna come across in those meetings. And everyone's styles are very, very different. And so they're gonna really start to pick up on what's going on. The third one for really remote is sending out an internal newsletter is super important, so people get a sense of like what you're looking at. And you're like, hey guys, this is what my objectives are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then that becomes a talking point. And that newsletter could be tied to a Loom video. So you could send out a newsletter, but then also Loom it and say, hey, this is in the newsletter, but for those of you who just want to listen to this as opposed to read it, but then you have the documentation and you've got the video. Which one you do in which order is independent. So I would say that those things there would be a really good starting point to get remote workers to feel like they are actually a part of the business. And for those of you guys who have sites where you guys are always on site, not coming to HQ, super important as well. Does that help, Manny?
That does. Thank you. I just wrote it down here. Yeah, which are things that we're not doing. It's actually one of the things that I see as a lack for me because I'm like the middleman for everything. Like a lot of them don't even know each other, and I don't like that because they always have to come to me, and I'd rather have them talk to each other. I had a lot of fear of like, oh, but what if this contractor speaks with this contractor and then they cut me out? But it's like what I've built, the brand that I've built, even if somebody else had the same strategy, uh,
No,
who
you're
knows?
the
They might
glue.
not even be able to implement.
You're the glue guy, man. So the ability to be the glue and the networker for teams is a skill, and it's a superpower. Like don't not lean on the fact that you're the glue and that you're the central hub for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That I really appreciate it,
Yeah.
everyone. Thank you so much.
All right, cool. Okay, so we're getting really close on time. I know Duncan had a quick question. Marcel, you've got your hand up. So Duncan, you want to shoot really quick your
Yeah,
comment?
I'll be super quick. I just thought coming back to the grind coffee thing, I just something clicked at the moment when everyone presented is that does the staff know what the goals are for the business? If they're talking about wholesale roasting a second store, are they aware? Because if they're aware and they're talking about it, now it's out to the ethos and everybody's hearing it. It was reminiscent of what you said about your book example. Someone knows about it and they're like, you have an accountability here. And so if you said, hey, I'm going to open another store, like, how's that other store going? If you're constantly being asked and you have those goals, it's just that nice fire that lit under your ass.
Yeah, 100%. Like at Paris, you guys have your core objectives on the wall, and there's a dashboard starting, and it gets shared. It's like send out a newsletter. It's important, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Marcel, over to you.
Yeah, just Manny resonates with me. It's really tough to build a culture when you're with everybody at a distance. And I would just say, I would echo all of Edwin's tactics, but I would say this: you'll you'll speed ahead much faster. You'll make forward progress no matter what, but you'll speed ahead faster if you really get clear in your own head, like, and write it down. What's the one or two things you want to define your culture? Is it competitive? Is it teamwork? Is it collaboration? Is it work harder than everybody else? Like, but pick what the top two are. And then if you combine that with the communication tactics he's talking about, you pound it over and over again in different ways. And that's going to be, it's almost more important than when you're in the office because it's harder to build that culture. So you have to keep it really simple, in my opinion.
Love it. Amazing content to you guys today. We really dove into some great things. You guys will get the AI send out of this. I'll be uploading the video as well. We are having a session on December 27th. So don't be a lazy business owner and say, oh, I'm taking December 27th off. Show up. Very important. All right, guys. We will see you in a month. And for some of you, the rest of you, we'll see you sooner.
Thanks, Edwin.
Thanks, Edwin.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone. See you guys.
Thank you.